Kutztown Live. KUR's campus and community interest radio magazine. You can always be a part of Kutztown Live by giving us a call at 610-683-4859. And now, this is Kutztown Live.
You're listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. Welcome to Kutztown Live, a show about Kutztown, the university, and the most agreeable town of Kutztown, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, Aaron B., joined here by my co-host,
Joshua Kaplan.
That's you.
That is me.
So today we actually have a shorter show today. We only have a half an hour show today for, just a couple of reasons. But next week we are returning to our full hour-long programming, and we have a jam-packed episode next week. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys here for it. But we're here. We're living in the now. And later on this episode, we'll have on 3 representatives from Student Government Board here to talk to us about what they do, what kind of events they have going on this semester, and all that. But to start off the show today, we decided we're going to talk about some events going on at Kutztown, the university, and in the town today. So we're going to start it off with one of those small events that the university puts on all the time, but it happened yesterday, and they're great. It was the pet therapy. You've been to the pet therapy, Josh?
I went a couple times last year, haven't made it to any of them this year. I think
you only missed
yesterday
one.
Was the only one. Yeah, I haven't made it to any of the ones this year, but like last year I went to a couple, yeah.
They're fantastic. If you guys don't know what pet therapy is, it's the university opens up our big room, the multi-purpose room in here in the MSU, and a bunch of people like small local farms, petting zoos, and just animal owners just come in. They bring in their pets, and you just get to play with them for as long as they're here, and they bring in some interesting animals. What have been your favorites, Josh? Because they bring in some interesting ones.
Well, last time I was there was an owl there, and that gave me a new lease on just life in general. Seeing that owl.
Yeah, I remember the owl. It was kind of cool. You couldn't pet it though, because it's an owl.
Yeah, but it was an owl, and that spoke to me.
They brought in a baby calf last year. And it was 100% the cutest thing I've ever seen.
They got some deer there sometimes.
Oh yeah, they had a Canadian it was like a all white deer last year. He was cool. He let you pet him. Most of the animals are pretty cool.
A lot of dogs.
Yeah, there's a lot of dogs. It's nice seeing dogs.
When we walked out of our building today to start coming here, we saw a group of dogs just.
I saw 2 of the tallest dogs I've ever seen today.
It was frightening.
It was. But another event that also happened yesterday, actually, that KUR helped put on was Pride Fest here at Kutztown. It was our first actual Pride Fest that we've done here at the university. It was put on by Allies and SGA and the GLGBTQ Center. It was I unfortunately wasn't able to go, but a lot of our members here actually went and DJ'd there. Josh, did you get over to the event?
I did not get to make it over there. Sadly.
Yeah, you're really disappointing KUR here.
I'm making a problem. I didn't get to make it to that or the pet therapy, but I'm going to step it up.
You will
as the year goes on.
But yesterday at that event, they were giving out T-shirts. They were having raffles, and it looked like they were having. They were doing like group events the whole time, and it was over at the rec center where the gym is, and it looked like an actual blast. They had some drag queens come in. I can't say I'm familiar. I've never watched like the shows or anything, but from what I heard, people were very excited. So they must have been somewhat famous, at least.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar either, but It seemed like it.
But an event coming up actually coming up this Sunday, starting at 9 a.m. is the Lions Fiddle Fest. And it happens every year. I did not know it was happening last year. It happened around this time last year, I do believe. But I will actually be there. Are you going to be there?
I might. I don't see why not. I'm not doing anything that day.
I will be there representing KUR with our lovely programming director, Laura Keim. And we'll be out there. She's very excited. I quite honestly have never been to a Fiddle Fest. I was not aware that it was really a thing, but it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I used to dabble in the fiddle.
You did?
I did.
What kind of instrument is the fiddle?
It's a violin, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. I might have just lied, but I'm pretty sure it's a violin.
How are you? Okay, well, at least you'll admit if you think you're lying.
But I'm pretty sure I'm right. There's a song, and they say that the violin's a fiddle. So that's what I think is going on.
Okay.
The fiddler on the roof, he's playing a violin.
Oh, that's true. He is. But this Fiddle Fest, the Pride Fest, Pet Therapy going on, it started to make me think. I never really thought about how many events on campus and even off campus go on in a given week. Until I started hosting Kutztown Live and actually started paying attention to these events, so we could talk about them and promo them, let everyone know what's going on.
Yeah, there is just stuff coming almost every day, events on campus and around campus, just almost every day. Yeah,
it's crazy. They had that Pride Fest yesterday. There were so many students there. I saw a lot of students at Pet Therapy, and even when an event that's not really an event is going on, QAB was selling tickets to go see Book of Mormon up in New York yesterday, and the lines for that were the most ridiculous. Did you get to see the lines?
No, I didn't even know that was going on.
I just got an angry face from someone who couldn't get the tickets, so I'm sorry. but the lines were wrapping around the MSU, and there was just communities forming. It was insane, and there was 2 different times they were selling them yesterday. I only got to see the one time. And it was earlier in the day. It was when we had a meeting in this studio, and there was at least 60 people just outside the small office in the MSU, and I just stopped and I was like, what are you doing? What is happening here? And they said, Book of Mormon ticket sales. And I was like, how many do they have? And they said, I think they have 25 this round.
So why even get in line?
I don't know. But it was quite the interesting thing. But for now, we're going to head to a little break, and then when we come back, we're going to have our guests here from SGB to speak. So make sure you stay tuned for that. You're listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR, and we'll see you after the break.
Email any suggestions to kur@kutztown.edu. Complaints, concerns, questions, whatever you may be thinking at the time, it's kur@kutztown.edu.
Okay, so just type the job website address here. That's it. Then you enter what job you're looking for there.
Electrician.
This is Peter. Recently, he got help going on the internet for the first time to look for a new job.
Okay, then you just hit search and...
In the past, Peter's gotten work through people he knew, but he heard there were more jobs online.
There we go.
These are all for me?
Uh-huh.
Really?
He had no idea just how many.
I can't believe it. This one looks good.
Peter is thinking the internet might be for him after all.
And this is just one website.
Wow. Why didn't I do this sooner?
See what the internet can help you do at everyoneon.org or call 1-855-387-9166 to find a free training class near you. Brought to you by Connect to Compete and the Ad Council.
And now, another film rental discovery.
Welcome to the Indie Film Minute. Some well-known stand-up comedians are considered modern philosophers. George Carlin, Lenny Bruce, and Louis C.K., to name a few. Another is Bill Hicks, a truly great comic whose short life is documented in American, the Bill Hicks Story. Starting from humble beginnings in Houston, the film follows Hicks as he nurtures his craft in Texas, travels to Los Angeles to further his career, tours the United States, and then Great Britain. There, he becomes a national sensation through his uniquely acerbic, scorching, and insightful observations of the absurdities of the world around him. And us. Employing a mix of interviews with friends and family, footage of Hicks's performances, and animation, American paints a portrait of Hicks as a man who began as an entertainer, but found his calling when he realized that if he talked about headier ideas, infusing them with his sometimes caustic, always in-your-face brand of dark humor, he could become an agent for change in the world. Hicks died of pancreatic cancer when he was only 32. A little-known comic in America, he came into his own overseas and became a megawatt outlaw star. The producers of this insightful doc seek to introduce America to one of its own greats. American, the Bill Hicks Story. Not in theaters. Discovery through rental.
My name's Eric Wolf. The sun is not unlike a pot of boiling water in some ways. It bubbles, it churns, and occasionally its magnetic fields will get all tangled up. However, when these magnetic fields get too tangled up, they snap back to their correct position,
telescopic topics,
often in
a look into
violent
the
ways.
world above us.
When this happens, it creates a large cloud of radiation, as well as disturbing the surface of the sun. These two events are called solar flares and coronal mass ejections. Now, the difference between these two terms is that a solar flare deals only with radiation such as X-rays, while a coronal mass ejection deals with actual plasma from the sun being thrown out into space. Although these two events are two completely separate occurrences, they very often will happen simultaneously. There is a definite correlation between the two. And speaking of correlations, these two events usually happen when there are also a lot of sunspots that are visible. Sunspots don't form unless there's a lot of magnetic activity happening in the area. And this activity is what triggers a solar flare. Once the radiation from the flare is in space, it, of course, will blast into every planet in its way, including the Earth. If the planet has an active core and a strong magnetic field, it will be able to protect itself from most of the radiation. However, if a planet does not have a magnetic field, its surface will be blasted by radiation. This, although not damaging to the planet, will certainly harm any theoretical life. When one of these waves of particles hits the Earth, it does a number of things. It can disrupt satellites, electronics, and power systems. It also causes a lot of activity in the ionosphere, whose disturbance is observed to study solar flares. Its disturbance has a side effect, though, and that is that it creates a spectacular aurora borealis. These events can be viewed sometimes as low as the United States when there is a strong solar storm happening. All of these facts, when put together, show that the sun is not just a boring old ball of gas floating in space, but rather is a sleeping giant that could awaken at any second with a tumultuous rage.
Telescopic Topics, a look into the world above us. Stay tuned to KUR for more telescopic topics. Telescopic Topics is a production of the KU Physical Sciences Department and is recorded by KU astronomy students in the studios of KUR. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
You're listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. Welcome back to Kutztown Live. I'm your host, Aaron B., joined by my co-host,
Joshua Kaplan.
And as promised, before we went to the break, I said that we would have some representatives from SGB in here. So we have Clyde Killebrew, Curtis Hainsworth, and Andy Reyes. How are you guys doing?
For having us. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course, no problem at all. So can you guys just, for the people that don't know, what is SGB? Just give us like a brief overview of what you guys do.
Well, SGB is an acronym for the Student Government Board. It's the organization that heads all the other organizations on campus, gives them their budget for the year, also helps them with status changes as well, and just a connection between administration and the student body.
Absolutely. And kind of just to go off what Clyde just said there, I mean, we're just kind of the representation of like the students here on campus, because I mean, we're students as well, so we know kind of like what students want, what students need, and also, you know, it connects us with the administration to know where we need to go to fill those needs.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Do you guys hold specific positions there, just so the audience can get to know you better?
Should we go through like all of our different positions?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Andy anyway. I'm a College of Business representative, but more specifically, I'm our public relations chair. So if you have any flyers or anything for your organizations, feel free to send them over our way. Our is at KUSGB. So, yep. And Kurt.
Yes, so my name is Curtis Hainsworth. I'm a liberal arts representative, and I just was recently elected to be the Dean Liaison for the liberal arts. So I will be representing any major that is liberal arts or science, and basically representing us and talking to the dean for our business, our major.
And I currently serve as the vice president.
Okay, great. And a big thing here on Kutztown Live that we talk about are events that are happening, you know, either here at Kutztown University or in the town, in the borough. So are there any events coming up that SGB wants to talk about?
Yeah, I had to piggyback off that, yesterday I believe, we had our first annual Pride Fest in the rec center because it was the rain location. I think that was really well attended event. We got to have everybody come together and just show love to each other. It was really good. Also, not to SGB specifically, but on Sunday we're going to have Black Student Union's annual block party. We're going to hold that at the 44 Grove from 12 to 5 p.m. So if you want to get a plate, come listen to some good music, come meet people. We'd love to see you there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to add more about the Black Student Union, the block party, I think it's important to note that it's open to everyone. You don't have to be a student of color. We actually encourage that everyone come out and get involved because we're all human at the end of the day.
Absolutely, and it's a great time.
Yes, it is.
Most definitely.
Well, that sounds great. Josh and I actually, our segment before this, we talked a little bit about Pride Fest and how that went. So good thing to mention. But moving on, you guys actually reached out to us about coming on the show and said you wanted to talk about student improvement here, which Josh and I, that's been a really important topic that we've tried to cover in our past two shows to try to reach out to especially freshmen and new transfer students and all that. So I'm going to switch it over to you so you can say what you actually have to say.
As far as the self-improvement goes, I think I'll meet Kurt and Andy. We spend a lot of time throughout the week and in the semester, obviously, we're trying to figure out new ways to better ourselves as people. And when we talk about bettering ourselves, it always is looking, to each other first, but most importantly, looking toward ourselves and trying to find new ways to learn more things, because knowledge is power, and also with what we learn, using it to apply to our everyday life. So especially in a college setting, it's important to recognize the resources that they have. We're going to talk a little bit more about the resources, importance of getting involved, and just the importance of having fun here, but also recognizing that, it's going to be a journey, in order to get your degree, and that's the biggest goal at the end of the day.
Also, just kind of going off what Clyde said, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all students here on campus, and, academics and everything go into that. But, it's also about self-care and watching yourself, if you're good mentally, stuff like that, just make sure you're checking in on all your friends and stuff like that. Because, just like Kurt said, at the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think self-honesty and self-awareness is important, and it's best to realize when you need help, where you're struggling, and every day is a new day to be a better person, as well as manage something or reach closer to a goal that you're striving for.
Absolutely. And I think also what is also important is, I'm going to say one big thing, accountability. Accountability should be, you're holding yourself to what you have to hold yourself to, but at the same time, surround yourself with people that take, accountability for their actions as well. So, yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's great, guys. Well, thank you so much for all those words, because those are super important things for everyone here on campus to hear, whether they're new, returning, or anything. Well, guys, you're part of SGB. I'd argue a very important campus organization. So how can students get involved with you guys, whether that be just attending your meetings or whether that be actually trying to serve on SGB?
Well, first off, we encourage everybody to come out to our meetings. They're every Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
In Academic Forum 202 this year.
Absolutely. Yep. So, even if you're just a part of the public, I mean, my first semester, my freshman first semester, I was a part of the public, and I know at the time it feels like, oh, well, why are you going to go? But you're going to pick up on a lot of stuff, and that stuff is going to help you in the long run, especially if you want to go for, a position. Just make sure that you're looking for all the people out there that can get you where you need to go.
Yep, and we also hold elections for those that do want to join for the next semester, or for freshmen in this case joining for the beginning part of their first semester. We have a mid-year election that's held usually in November. We have a spring election that's held in April, and then last but not least, we have our freshman election for new student representatives held in August. So we'll always have on social media, on our at KUSGB page on Instagram, we'll have all the information regarding how to nominate yourself, how to get voter turnout, just all those things. And we love to help. We love to give resources. So anybody that has questions on that, please follow us on KUSGB or just reach out to one of us, most definitely.
And to add on to that, I would just like to say that the Student Government Board is a resource that students can utilize as well. Even if you don't want to join SGB, if you are a treasurer for an organization, it is recently coming up. The KUSSI will be releasing the budget packets, and it'll be available to be picked up on Monday, September 16th. And basically, all organizations will have to fill out a budget packet, and SGB will be having workshops on the 17th and the 18th in MSU 157 from 11 a.m. on September 17th, and September 18th, 2 p.m. And these workshops will be a step-by-step guide on the best way to fill out information so your organization can receive as much finances as possible to hold their events.
Well, I do sure hope our treasurer's listening.
We'll let him know about that.
Yeah, we'll let him know anyway.
Yeah,
but
we'll talk. We'll
talk.
Definitely, especially KUR. Show love to them.
Mad love for KUR.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I know you plugged your Instagram earlier, but is there anything else you want to plug, especially ways to get into contact with you guys?
We actually have Curtis. He has a couple organizations that we're also a part of that we want to talk about a little bit, and then we'll share our resources that we use throughout the year. Most def.
Yeah. So first, I would like to talk about the Kutztown presidential ambassadors. I am on my way to be an inducted member into that, but this organization is just their goal is to further strengthen the relations between the current student board and the past alumni that all came to this great university, as well as the National Society of Leadership and Success, which is a honor society that promotes skills and workshops that lead to success.
Most definitely. All three of us are part of multiple organizations, and that helps you as well with trying to connect with other people, getting involved early, and getting involved with a purpose of trying to better yourself and better whatever organization that you're a part of. You no doubt will find some people, and I've found two great people to the left of me, like leaders that also can help you and developing a sense of self-improvement. So definitely get time to get involved. Always, academics first, but that's what college is all about, I think.
Like, especially with everything happening here on campus, I mean, we have so much going on through academics and, extracurriculars and stuff like that. But I always say, look for the helpers out there. Look for the people that are raising you up rather than beating you down. Those are the type of people that will get you where you need to go. And it's just a great way to show leadership as well. because you can take that initiative to find those people,
Yeah, most def.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all great, guys. Josh and I actually, you guys are hitting a lot that Josh and I have actually tried to talk about over these past 2 weeks, but I'd argue you're doing it a little bit better. So good. So thank you for that.
Much appreciated. Yeah, always appreciated. Much love.
So to wrap things up, because as we're approaching the end of this segment, and what are your final words for all of our listeners out there?
I think just for anybody that's out there, just make sure that you're putting in 110% each day, because in the end your work is really going to reflect who you are as a person. So if you're going to go out there, if you want to be a part of a club, be a part of a club. If you want to be a part of a sport, just work with the team. This whole thing comes full circle at the end of the day.
Most definitely.
But at the same time, just stay connected to the ones that you keep, close, and keep that same level mind. Like, here without Kurt or Clyde, who knows where I'd be at.
Appreciate that, boss.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
The advice I'd have to give is it's important to have a strong mindset of your own, but also be around strong individuals that will be able to mold you and guide you to be better. Having a mentor is always great, and sometimes it's best to have a mentor that is not of the same age as you and is seasoned and can give you information that none of your peers will have because they haven't been through it yet.
Mm-hmm. And just to end it off, just remember that this is a marathon and not a race. So it's for me, it's going to be a 4-year process in college of just trying to find myself and trying to find what best suits me as a college student and as a somebody that's going to be in a career field growing up. So definitely just remember it's a marathon. Everything will come together in time as long as you put the effort in. So I appreciate y'all, especially KUR, for giving me the opportunity to be here, as well as giving us the opportunity as well. And we just hope to meet with y'all, very soon, and have a lot more updates, positive updates.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for the inspirational words, guys. It's been great. It's been great having you on. It was really good to hear this, and I could imagine it was great for the listeners. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much, Clyde Killebrew, Curtis Hainsworth, and Andy Reyes. You guys have been fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much. And as I said earlier, this is a shortened episode of Kutztown Live, unfortunately. So this is where we're going to have to end things off for today. This is Aaron B. signing off until next week.
Joshua Kaplan signing off as well until later tonight.
Make sure you can catch the musical morgue later tonight, 6 to 7. And make sure you catch Undeclared 6 to 7 on Monday. This is Kutztown Live, signing off.